All right, guys, let's talk about Wolfman, the 2025 werewolf movie that's here to scratch that monster itch. This one's got atmosphere, tension, and just a little bit of what the hell were they thinking with that decision moments. So let's break it all down. First up, the core of the movie, the whole father protecting his family against all odds thing. It just works, man. It resonates. You can feel the desperation, the lengths he'll go to keep his loved one safe. It's kind of like A Quiet Place, but instead of aliens, you've got claws and fangs. That dynamic is what gives the movie its heart. And I gotta say, as a father of two, the father dynamic really resonated with me, especially in this movie. That's not to say it won't resonate with you if you don't have families or kids, but just speaking from my own experience, it really hit home quite hard. And the setting, that isolated cabin in the woods vibe surrounded by mist and eerie silence, it's practically a character in itself. The seclusion just cranks up the tension. You know danger's coming, but it's all about when and where. Chef's kiss. So, werewolf movies in general, they're always about control versus chaos, right? The human side trying to rein in the monster. Wolfman taps into that, but it's not just about the protagonist. It's about how that struggle affects everyone around him, in this case, his family. Classic werewolf themes. It feels fresh enough, especially when you consider that this particular werewolf movie just surrounds a family of three: dad, mum, daughter. So you've only got these three characters to work with, and they stretch that over the full duration of the movie, and it works. It works brilliantly. And I mean, speaking of the three characters, the family, the chemistry between the cast, it's solid. Everyone feels like a real family, which makes it hit harder when things start going south. Believable interactions, natural dialogue. This isn't one of those movies where you're like, they're acting as a family, where the chemistry just doesn't exist and that inherently takes you out. You feel genuinely, organically like these guys and girls are all one big close knit family. You buy into their relationship and it pays off. Okay. Shout out also to the werewolf POV, which is such a cool trick they do in this movie. Effectively, what they do is you see one moment things is sort of almost in very dark pitch blackness almost from the human character's point of view. And then the camera sort of swings around and you see it from the werewolf point of view. And you've got that night vision, you've got the werewolf's perception of how we look and how we sound, and the heightened sense of hearing. All of these really cool design choices. It's not a thing I've seen before in a werewolf movie, and that felt fresh. It was a really cool creative choice they made with that. Now, Wolfman doesn't go for buckets of blood. I mean, it can't. It's only got the three people in it for most part. It's light on gore, but heavy on tension. And honestly, that's the right call. It's more about the build up, the dread, and those edge of your seat moments where you're like, oh no, this is not gonna end well. But, and this is a big but, there is a massive plot hole in this movie, and it happens in the first sort of 10 minutes. So, cool spoiler if you want. But I mean, I'm giving away a point about the first 10 minutes of the movie that I need to discuss for the purpose of this review. Like, dude, main character, why in the actual hell would you bring your family back to a place has some seriously messed up history? It's one of those yell at the screen moments where you're questioning a character's decision making because it's so obviously not the thing to do that he does. It just doesn't make sense no matter how you slice it. I've already spoken about the chemistry, but I also want to touch on the performances themselves. Performances are convincing across the board. Everyone brings their A game and you feel their fear, love, and anger. It's grounded, which makes the supernatural elements hit that much harder when they do happen. Now, for the technical stuff, because for movies like this, yes, you need your actors to put in a solid performance. Their chemistry's got to be believable. But to capture all the things we've talked about, the werewolves and the isolation of the surroundings they're in, we do need to touch on the technical stuff a little bit. Notably, the camera work and editing. Once again, it's chef's kiss. Perfect for building suspense. The way the camera lingers just long enough, the cuts that leave your imagination filling in the gaps. It really is a masterclass in tension, and Lee Whannell, who previously directed The Invisible Man a few years ago, this really is him highlighting how at home he is working with tension and fear and dread. And the creature design, of course, damn good. The werewolf looks terrifying, but not cartoony. The makeup team clearly put in the hours, and it pays off. This is a werewolf you really don't want to meet on a full moon, that's for sure. Although saying that, I imagine you don't want to meet any werewolf on a full moon, but you take my point. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. The plot, the thing that ties this whole thing together. And as I've said on the channel many a times, I'm a stickler for character and story. The plot is paper thin, absolutely paper thin in this movie. Like, connect the dots basic. You've seen this story before, and Wolfman really doesn't do anything to surprise you. It's entertaining, sure, but groundbreaking? Not so much. So what's the verdict? There's a lot of good going for this movie. I think it's kind of cursed because I went in hoping for a movie similar in quality to The Invisible Man, and it's not. Is it a top 3 or top 5 werewolf movie of all time? It's not. Is it worth seeing in the cinema? Yeah. Is it worth supporting this type of movie? Yes. And does it have all the positives that I've discussed in this review? Yes. So what is the final score? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to score Wolfman. Oh, it's actually harder than I thought. I'm going to score Wolfman 7 out of 10. Wolfman is a solid werewolf flick. It's got atmosphere, great performances, and killer tension. But that gaping plot hole and that overly simple story keep it from reaching its full potential. I'd say it's worth a watch, especially if you're into creature features in the werewolf genre, but it's not redefining the genre anytime soon. But over to you guys now. I want to know what your thoughts were. Wolfman, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Thumbs up, thumbs down, higher score, lower score. Let me know your opinions. And yeah, keep it right here on the Silver Screen Dudes for more movie reviews. We've got interviews coming up. The Rushmore has returned, as you saw a few days ago. Lots of fun stuff happening on the channel now. So go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, and I will see you guys very soon for another movie review and more movie content. Long love cinema. Bye for now.